All right, Wayne Allyn, welcome to the show. This is W.A.R, your middle-class warrior, relentless freedom fighter, capitalist evangelist, conservative rock star, and all-around lovable badass. What's this war good for? God, guns, gold, tax cuts, term limits, Trump, and that tall, wonderful wall. That's how we save America, capitalism, and American exceptionalism. The only radio host in America who's an SOB, small businessman. My books, The Power of Relentless, An Angry White Male, all available at Amazon. My website, rootforamerica.com. All the conservative news and opinions that matter. Register for free right now at rootforamerica.com. Ways to listen to the show, ways to take action with the show, ways to become involved with the show. First of all, you can call in. The most call-in friendly show in America. Toll-free number, toll-free anywhere in the United States. 844-WAR-NOW-1, 844-WAR-NOW-1. Numerically, that's 844-927-6691. You can listen online at 790talknow.com, 790talknow.com. Click on the top, and the show is on. It's that simple. You can listen to any of the shows you miss, all 3 hours of them, at W.A.R Now Radio at my YouTube channel. So just go to youtube.com and check out W.A.R Now Radio. And, of course, it's important to note this show is sponsored by Swiss America, the gold standard, the number one precious metals company in America. Contact Swiss America at 800-BUY-COIN, 800-BUY-COIN, or go to SwissAmerica.com. Important to note that coming up on April 15th, just about 2 weeks from today, is tax day. And that means you're going to want to have an IRA or a SEP IRA. Well, you want it to be in physical gold or silver. And the company to call is SwissAmerica.com, 800-BUY-COIN. All right, time for my world-famous Root Rant. And it really is about to become world famous because right now, this show is heard all over Las Vegas, 790 Talk Now. Talk that rocks, Palm Springs, 98.1 FM. But starting on April 10th, we'll be nationally syndicated around the country and picking up markets everywhere from coast to coast. By the way, the syndicator is USA Radio Network. Who better for Wayne Allyn to be on? Because my whole life's dedicated to America. I love this great country. I am Mr. USA, born and bred in the United States of America. America all the way, America first, America second, America last. And so what a perfect union of Wayne Allyn and USA Radio Network. Very proud to announce that USA is my syndicator. They provide the news to 500 stations all over the United States, and that'll provide war to 500 stations all over the United States. All right, some great things going on in the Root Rant, which we'll talk about throughout the show in the 3 o'clock, 4 o'clock, and 5 o'clock hour. Reasons why you need to call in, 844-WAR-NOW-1. Some of the hot news stories. You know, all the liberals out there think they've defeated Donald Trump because of one thing, Obamacare. It's the only thing. They think they beat him because of Obamacare. Now, first of all, I've said for days now that while they're all focused on winning Obamacare, Donald Trump behind the scenes is taking them out left and right. He just signed a bill. The BLM, the Bureau of Land Management, can no longer have control over ranchers, farmers, hunters, fishermen, all the good American patriots that the government wants to control our minds, our physical lives, our financial lives 24 hours a day. Trump signs a bill. They're not in charge of 40 million acres anymore, including 20 million acres in Nevada. Thank you, Donald. Donald Trump signs a bill killing all of Obama's climate change regulations. Thank you, Donald Trump. Donald Trump kills the Obama war on coal. Thank you, Donald Trump. Donald Trump announces Jared Kushner, his son-in-law, is in charge of streamlining government and making it good for business again. Thank you, Donald Trump. Donald Trump's Attorney General Jeff Sessions announced that if you are harboring illegals in a sanctuary city, your funding is being cut off. Thank you, Donald Trump. So while their eye is on the ball, this is like three-card Monte on the streets of New York where I grew up. Their liberals' eyes are on the ball, and Donald Trump is moving the ball, and the real ball is all those things I just talked about. Now we get back to Obamacare. What came out moments ago as I was leaving to get ready for the show, I'm running out the door. I look at the news real quick. Republicans are calling a new vote on Obamacare on, I believe it's Friday. It's either Friday or Monday. Why do you think they're doing that? Trump needed to twist about 10 lousy arms. As I said yesterday to Megan Barth, I said, you know how Democrats pass bills? They give away bridges. They give away highways. They give away money, goodies like Santa Claus. Well, you know what? In this one case, I'm usually against that. Donald, give them a bridge. I don't care what you got to do. Kill Obamacare. I just want to wipe the smirk off every dumb liberal jerk-off's face. Wipe the smirk off their face. They thought they won, and what did I predict on this show every day? I said within 6 months, maybe 3 months, maybe even 2 weeks, Donald would be back and he'd pass it. And you know what? He even surpassed my expectations. Within a week, you don't think he's calling this because he doesn't know he's got the votes, right? Because I'll admit it, I'm an idiot on Friday. If they call it and he doesn't have the votes, then I'm wrong. Then Donald's not as sharp as I thought he was. You are not going to call another vote unless you know you've got the votes. Maybe it's down to 2, and you give him a bridge. Give him a bridge, okay, Donald? Make a welfare payment. In this one case, you have Wayne Root's permission. It's okay. That's how bills get passed. Give people goodies. No other guy has ever been in the president's seat and gotten a major bill passed without giving away goodies. Do you know how Obamacare was passed? The Cornhusker kickback. He gave the senator of Nebraska something none of the other 49 states had. It was just literally theft from the other 49 states. So, Donald, you have my permission. Do what every other president does. Do what every other politician does and get it done right. Here's another thing that's happened great under Donald Trump that liberals aren't noticing. I have argued for years now, when all the liberals say the illegals, they're so good for society. They're working and they're not taking welfare. No, they're taking tons of welfare. The minute they get here, they're taking food stamps. The minute they get here, their kids are in school. The minute that's $20,000 a kid in most major metropolitan areas. The minute they get here, they're taking Medicaid, or they've joined Obamacare. They're getting free medical. They are ripping us off. They're getting housing allowance, aid to dependent children. They're getting earned income tax credits at the end of the year. They're getting so much it would make an average legal American patriot's head spin. So since Trump became president, guess what's happening? Illegal aliens are canceling SNAP benefits for fear of being deported. 1.5 million non-citizens received food stamps in the 2015 fiscal year. Obama, dubbed the food stamp president, presided over an alarming increase in the number of people on food stamps. As of 2013, a 70% increase in the number of people on food stamps. Now it appears that illegal aliens, as well as legal aliens, and those illegals who head households that include illegal aliens are canceling their SNAP benefits left and right because of their perception, and it's a wonderful perception, God bless Donald Trump, that being on food stamps will draw the attention of ICE and impair their chance of becoming U.S. citizens, or they'll wind up deported. Isn't this wonderful? God bless Donald Trump. Liberals think they're winning. You're not winning any more than Charlie Sheen was winning while he got AIDS. Good luck, Charlie. I don't think HIV is winning. Well, you're not winning either, liberals. You're losing. Donald Trump is the winner here. And I said from the beginning that I would put my money on Trump passing Obamacare pretty quickly. It wasn't a loss. It wasn't a failure. It was a short postponement. You know, I wrote the book, The Power of Relentless. What did the power of relentless mean? Businessmen like me can run circles around any dumb politician. They're people like politicians, they think they're so smart. They couldn't last a week with a job in the private sector. Nancy Pelosi couldn't make it as a manager of a Dairy Queen. Are you kidding me? Harry Reid couldn't run a barbecue restaurant. Harry Reid has no talent of any kind. None of these people could do anything in the private sector. So they take jobs, they run for office, they become politicians, and they get pensions for the rest of their lives, just like all the government employees they support. Same kind of crew. And that's the problem with politicians. Well, along comes Donald Trump. And he's the smartest businessman you'll ever find, one of the great ones in history of this country, maybe in the history of the world, right? You don't get much better at being a billionaire and president of the United States, right? That's a combination no one's ever done before. So I think Donald is right up there with any businessman in the history of the world. And Donald Trump comes along against 16 of the greatest candidates in Republican history, and he wipes the floor with all of them. And he becomes the nominee even though he knows nothing about politics. Nothing. Donald Trump was the celebrity apprentice, right? He really was the celebrity apprentice. And all those politicians are the biggest loser, the biggest losers. And Donald Trump now, as president, is going to do the same thing. He's going to run circles around liberal politicians who don't know how to do anything. They play with your money and my money. They don't know how to make money. Do you think the guy who heads the Nevada State Senate knows anything about making money? Do you think the Democrat who heads the Nevada State Assembly knows anything about making money? How about the Republican liberal governor of Nevada, Brian Sandoval? Has he ever made $1 in the real world? This is why Donald Trump runs rings around all of them. You know what Sandoval's most famous for? The first Republican governor in America to accept the expansion of Obamacare. Did he do it with his money? Did he open a business like me? Did he start a nationally syndicated radio show? No. Brian Sandoval was a lifelong state assemblyman, state senator, judge, and then a governor. He's never played with anyone's money in his life but yours. He doesn't know anything about earning $1 in the real world or creating a job or opening up his bank account, seeing $1 million in it and saying, you know what? I'll roll the dice with the whole million and I'll start a business. Brian Sandoval's no better than Harry Reid. He doesn't know squat about making money. So he took billions of dollars of federal taxpayer money. He accepted it to pay for the expansion of Medicare. Not his money, your money, and my money. Knowing that he was only going to be paid all of that money for 3 years. And in year 4, the bill would come due to the people of Nevada. And that's why the state is broke. That's why the state needs money. That's why the state is asking for tax increases. Okay? That's why he passed a multi-billion-dollar tax increase. I believe it was about $2 billion just 2 years ago, because he knew this was coming down the pike. This is what politicians do when they're playing with your money. He took a giant free gift of all Medicaid expansion paid for by Uncle Sam, wouldn't cost Nevada a nickel for 3 years, got everyone on the Medicaid rolls, and now the bill is on us. Thank you, Brian Sandoval. You're not a Republican. You're a disgrace. You're a traitor, and you're a rhino. Republican in name only. At best, you are a moderate to liberal Democrat. And there you have it. Donald Trump is going to run rings around all the Brian Sandovals, all the Harry Reids, all the Chuck Schumers, all of them. Run rings around him. Wait till he passes Obamacare 1 week after they thought they had him beat. Wayne Allyn, WAR Now. We get back. We're talking guns, guns, and guns. Maybe a little automatic weapons, too. Wait till we get back. We're going to have fun. For a show called War, that's the right topic, right? We'll be right back. All right, Wayne Allyn, WAR Now. Welcome back. We've got a great guest in. He is one of the sponsors of this show. Brand new sponsor, by the way, Green Valley Range. And I almost said Green Valley Ranch. Green Valley
Everybody
Range.
does that.
Green Valley Range, where you go with a gun and you shoot. Green Valley Ranch is where you roll some dice and play some craps. Two different places. Green Valley Range. Jerry, I pronounce your name Tuminia?
Yep, just like too many of you.
Too many of you. There you go. Jerry Tuminia. Italian boy?
Italian, yes.
Yeah, you know, I just became honorary Italian.
I saw that. That
Yeah.
was quite the ordeal.
It was quite the
I'm
ordeal.
glad I didn't have to go through that to become Italian.
I had a great time, but I'm really glad it's over. That's
I
all
heard
I
you
can
got a
say.
spanking, too.
I got it was really harsh spanking. It hurt. I wanted to scream, except I'm not 5 years old and there was a crowd watching, so I just kept it to myself.
Well,
but it was a harsh spanking, yeah.
I think that I got that same thing, because when I was a kid, I got a lot of spanking. So maybe that's how I really became Italian.
Me too, but it had been a lot of years since I got a spanking, okay?
Yeah.
My dad and his belt were 45 years ago, okay? So that was a little harsh, but I am Italian, or at least honorary Italian, and so you and I are paisan. That's all I could say.
That's it.
All right, so Jerry Tuminia is the owner of Green Valley Ranch, lifelong entrepreneur.
Range.
Green Valley Ranch. I say ranch again. Green Valley Range, the gun range. They shoot there. Green Valley Range. It's great. We've actually got an audience member participating today. Cindy Parker's with us, looking absolutely ravishingly beautiful, because she is a woman who shoots at the Green Valley Range.
Yes, she does.
She hasn't shot at Green Valley Ranch in many years. They carted her off the last time she tried to do that at Green Valley Ranch. Don't confuse those two. If you shoot at Green Valley Ranch, the police will come and take you away. But it's perfectly legal to shoot automatic or semi-automatic weapons at Green Valley Range, which Jerry owns, which is in Henderson. And it's really the nicest facility in all of Las Vegas or Henderson, the whole Las Vegas Valley. It's the only one that really doesn't cater as much to tourists, even though you would take them, but you cater to locals. That's your big thing, right?
Yeah, well, growing up here, Wayne, the big thing for me is I've been in Las Vegas now for almost over 40 years. So growing up, being a gun enthusiast as a kid.
Being a cop at one point, right?
At one point I was for a couple
Henderson,
of years.
a Henderson police officer?
A Henderson police officer.
You were patrolling my neighborhood.
Yeah, your neighborhood wasn't there when I was a police
I know,
officer.
I get it. My neighborhood wasn't there
Neither
15
was
years
mine.
ago.
Yeah. But, one of the things I always wanted to do was to have a place. We were spoiled growing up here because you could just go in the desert and go shoot as long as you were so far from a house. But now that you can't do that anymore unless it's a BLM authorized place or somewhere the sheriff allows people to go to, I wanted to have a place for people to go and feel like home. I was in the gun industry. I was a partner in a gun store for a while. And the bad rap the gun industry always got was they're not very customer service friendly people.
And that's what you are, man. You rolled out the red carpet for me. I mean, I got to tell you, you treated me like Green Valley Ranch, by the way.
Yeah, exactly.
Even though it's Green Valley Range, it was like I was a high roller, and you guys were the casino hosts taking care of an important client. I really appreciate that,
and
the
we do
red
that,
carpet service.
We do that for each and every customer, and I mean that when I say it. I come from a gaming background when I was younger, so I learned customer service working for the casinos and working for those gaming companies. That was how they kept their customers.
You're my kind of guy. I always tell people when people say, why do you think your radio show is successful? Why are you going national? I say, because I take care of my listeners and my callers, because my grandfather was a guy who came to America with nothing from Germany. Not, the clothes on his back and a nickel in his pants, he always said. Yeah. And after 20 years of working as a butcher, he opened up a butcher store and it became wildly successful. And he said, grandson, do you want to know why it worked? I said, why? He said, here's the key to business. 2 rules. Rule number 1, the customer is always right. Rule number 2, if the customer's wrong, refer back to rule number 1. And that's exactly what you get at Green Valley Range. That's how you treat people.
It really does. And we just try to tell people that, look, we make mistakes just like anybody else. We're human beings just like our customers are human beings. So when we make a mistake, we admit it. Hey, we were wrong. What can we do to fix it? Unlike businesses that just don't address it.
Unlike politicians who don't address it. Yes. By the way, you know what that applies to? Obamacare.
Yes.
Right? They can't even admit it sucks. And they don't have any ability to admit that, even though every Obamacare exchange is bankrupt or going bankrupt, all of them heavily in the red. They can't admit we screwed up. It's unbelievable.
And Wayne, here's my point on it, is that they can't see or fix it because it doesn't matter to them. They're not on it.
It's not their money.
All of the congressmen and senators have their own health care plan.
Right.
So immediately, if we put them on Obamacare that we're on,
they'd want to fix it.
I guarantee it'll get fixed overnight.
Right.
They won't be going home for vacation. They'll be staying there and fix it.
Sounds to me like the owner of Green Valley Range is a conservative. That's what it sounds like to me.
100%.
Right. So this is the kind of guy we got to support. He also supports the NRA. I want to point out there's an NRA event, a membership drive, and a Patriot drive at Green Valley Range on April 1st. So that's Saturday?
That's Saturday.
This Saturday from 10 in the morning till 3 o'clock. Free food, free drinks, free hot dogs. You can become a member or a volunteer of the NRA and receive free gifts from the NRA. So all of that is happening. There's also going to be a blood drive. All of that is at your Green Valley Range.
Yep.
The address, by the way, is 175 Casilla Way in Henderson, Nevada. The phone number is 702-979-9494. I think the best way to describe where you are is you're right by the auto mall over there, right?
We're just 1 block east of Gibson on American Pacific.
Is the auto mall just like a couple of blocks away? It's right there, right?
I walk there when I get my car service.
Right. So Green Valley Range on Casilla Way in Henderson, 702-979-9494. That's this Saturday with an NRA membership drive. And then on Wednesday night, April 10th, at the same place, Green Valley Range, right? Same place?
April 12th.
Oh, I'm sorry, April 12th.
There's 2 meetings.
Oh, that's a different thing. April 10th is a different thing. On April 12th at the Green Valley Range again, it's going to be an NRA event to join them and defend your Second Amendment rights. So it's a
town hall meeting.
Town hall meeting. So instead of a politician, it'll be one of the NRA executives there to ask them questions?
One of the NRA representatives from Nevada, the head of the Nevada representative, Ben, he'll be there and he'll answer questions. And it's just a way for people to get involved and know what it takes to get involved. There's a lot of things going on in our government that most people don't know is happening right now. Some of those things are not going to go anywhere. They're proposed.
I would think with Trump as president, we're pretty much in the driver's seat at this point. We're going to win now. They're not taking our rights away, right?
No, they're not taking our rights away. But you got to remember, our own state legislature does
Oh,
what yes,
yes,
they want.
right.
And
Nevada.
that's really
Yeah.
what I'm talking about. Not on a national level, on a state level.
Yeah, the only thing saving us, as much as I criticize Brian Sandoval,
is
is he's kind of pro-gun, and I think he'd veto any gun measure that was ridiculous that came out of the legislature. At least we'd hope so.
yeah,
But he's not good on many other issues. I got to tell you, I'm so disappointed in Brian Sandoval. He's a moderate Democrat. That's what he is. Let's all just be honest about it. What you call yourself isn't the same as what you are. He says I'm a Republican. No, you're not.
yeah.
But okay, at least he defends our gun rights. So give him a little kudo there. So dates to remember: this Saturday, which is April 1st. What a great date, April Fool's Day.
April Fool's Day.
But they're not fooling you. They're having a
No.
real NRA membership drive at Green Valley Range.
And everybody that signs up for the NRA membership gets a $20 Green Valley Range free pass. So that means your membership only costs you $20 because it's a $40 membership to sign up. So we're giving you $20 back.
All right, so this Saturday, 10 a.m. to 3 p.m., and then put in your book April 12th, 6:30 p.m. Isn't that perfect? They arranged it so you can listen to my show till 6,
That's right.
and then head over to the Green Valley Range, 6:30 to 8 o'clock. It is a town hall meeting with the NRA. And I also want you to remember April 20th. It's now official. April 20th at South Point is the MAGA 100, celebrating Donald Trump's 100 days. That's also at 6:30, and that really was set so I could leave this show, get over there, and host the whole event.
Still do it.
I'm the man of the hour and the actual MC for the evening, Master of Ceremonies. We'll have all the great personalities in the media, conservative media, there at South Point on April 20th. So another great night. So good dates to remember. So much more to talk about with Jerry. So give us a sec. Let's go listen to our sponsors, take a quick break. And when we get back, I want to ask Jerry about Green Valley Range and why it's different than all the others out there, because it really is. And I want to ask him about shooting in the desert. I want to ask him about that because you mentioned that you can't just do that anymore. And to be honest with you, because I wasn't born and raised here, I didn't know that. So let's discuss all that when we get back. Wayne Allyn, WAR Now. We're with the owner of Green Valley Range, Jerry Tumminia, and we're having a great time talking guns on a show with a guy called WAR. Be right back. All right, Wayne Allyn, WAR Now, back again. 790 Talk Now in Vegas, 98.1 Palm Springs, 98.1 FM Palm Springs. We love our California listeners. Palm Springs is like an oasis of conservatism in a desert of communism in the Socialist People's Republic of California. So we thank you for being bold and brave and in the minority, but the silent majority is the minority, I think. And we also want to announce April 10th on USA Radio. We will be syndicated all over the United States starting on that date. So great things up ahead. More and more liberals' heads will explode all over this country as my voice expands. All right, we've got Jerry Tumminia in studios, the owner of Green Valley Range. And we were talking in the first segment, you mentioned something about growing up here your whole life and you used to be able to just go in the desert and shoot guns. And you said you can't do that anymore unless it's like a BLM approved area. I didn't know that. If I drove just like out into a total deserted desert area, I can't set up a table, put 5 bottles, and start shooting. You can't do that anymore, huh?
No, that's
you might hurt
illegal inside of Clark County.
Because you might hurt a desert
illegal.
turtle or something.
You might hurt a desert turtle. You know, there's one place that Metro allows everybody to shoot out by Sloan there, the exit off of I-15.
Mm-hmm.
It's not really a legally approved area to shoot, but Metro allows everybody because they feel they can control it if they have everybody there.
Mm-hmm.
But it's a very dangerous place to shoot. There was an incident with a girl that got killed there, actually, and then it's not organized at all. There's no one there making sure who's shooting in what direction and what they're shooting at. People will pull up, and there was a guy, I think like a month ago, who actually was shooting at a rock, and he got hit by his own ricochet.
The ricochet, wow.
Yeah.
So that's why you want to be in a controlled environment like Green Valley Range. That's the whole point of this.
Well, definitely. Or there's many outdoor ranges in Nevada. Look, I love to shoot indoors as well as I like to shoot outdoors. So even though I own an indoor range, it's not the only place I shoot. I like to shoot outdoors. It's a different atmosphere for people to shoot.
But give me your best sales pitch here. Why does someone want to shoot at Green Valley Range? What's the advantages?
Number one thing that someone wants to shoot at Green Valley Range is we have the best air system in the state of Nevada, and I have the test results to show you. So the biggest problem with most indoor ranges, and it's not really for the everyday shooter, it's more for our employees, but we
lead exposure?
Lead exposure for people. So that's one of the biggest things we tout. When I built Green Valley Range, I wanted the air system to be better than anywhere else.
So when I'm firing my gun, tiny, probably invisible little shreds of lead are kind of in the air, and people breathe that into their lungs at a normal range, is what you're saying.
They do. And one of the reasons was a long time ago, most range ammunition that people used on the range was just a lead bullet. It didn't have a coating on it. Now most bullets are what they call FMJ, full metal jacket, or TMJ, total metal jacket, meaning that the whole thing is covered by a copper jacket or some other jacket.
But still lead gets in the air, even
still
with that.
lead gets in the air because the primer that's used to ignite the bullet contains lead. And that's where most of the lead contamination comes from, not from the bullet, from the primer itself.
I hate to ask a dumb question, but why don't they make a primer that's not made of lead? If the lead's going to come off, then make a primer that's not lead-based. Is that really?
We've been fighting that for a long time, and there is a primer that has been in industry for a long time that's non-lead based, but the problem with it is that it's very susceptible to humidity. So the shelf life is very short for them.
Got it.
So in a climate like Nevada,
It's fine in Nevada.
it's fine. But
Right.
Any other
In
climate,
Florida, it melts in a week. I get it.
they're only good for once you open the box. It's good for a week, and that's it.
I got it. That's kind of how
then
I
you'll have
feel when I get to
problems.
Florida, too. I'm only good for a couple of days, and then I
Yep.
melt. The white people are melting in Florida. I get it. So,
And the other thing for Green Valley Range, why you want to go there is it's just our customer service. Look, I'm there and I'm in business because of my customers. It's not the other way around. So if I don't have customers, I can have the best place in the world, but without customers, I'd be nothing. So I must have customers.
customer service is number one at Green Valley
Is number
Range.
one. Of course, safety is, I want to say, number one, and then customer service after that, because I will stop you from doing something unsafe no matter what.
Tell everybody what kind of guns they could shoot, because I'm proud to announce that, to celebrate my daughter's graduation from Harvard a couple of years ago, we went to your range, Green Valley Range, to shoot machine guns.
Yes.
I bet you very few, if anyone, has ever graduated Harvard and celebrated by shooting machine guns. But her dad's Wayne Roots. That's different. And so we did, and I brought my, now he's 12, so he was 10 years old at the time, my 10-year-old son. I brought my son who's 17 now. He's 15 at the time. And all of us went there shooting at the range and had a blast at your place. And so what kind of weapons have you got for people to have a fun day shooting at the range?
Well, we have over 80 handguns that you can rent and try before you buy. That's one of the other big things we do at the range. But other than that, we also have 10 different machine guns that you can shoot, as well as a belt-fed 5.56. And you can bring your own firearms. We allow AKs, we allow AR-15s. We basically allow everything up to a 7.62 by 3.9 bullet. We don't allow 308. It's just too loud indoor. The range could handle it, but the sound would disturb everybody else on the range.
If Rambo shows up with his own personal missile launcher, he can't do that, right?
He can't do that, unfortunately.
okay.
Unless he wants to rent out the range privately. Then
You
we'll,
guys
we'll
are
talk
party
about
poopers.
it.
Come on.
Yeah.
Missile launchers, what's wrong with that? No big deal. No, so the machine gun was the funnest thing I think I've ever done. I mean, it was just so much, the power of feeling that in your hands as it's shooting is just unreal. And how fast the bullets come out is just unreal. My 10-year-old loved it. My college graduate from Harvard got a real education doing it, right? That's a real education. Harvard is book smart. That's a whole nother story. This is street smart.
Yeah, and how you felt about machine gun, shooting machine gun, and how excited you were. We have a ton of people that come in from other countries also, and just even our ladies group. We have a ladies meet and chat group that meets twice a month. There's over 140 ladies that are in the group. It is so invigorating for me to see these ladies who never in their lives thought they would ever touch a firearm. And they'll come into the range and they'll be so apprehensive before going in and getting ready to shoot. And the smile on their face
They love it,
when
right?
they come
Love
out.
it.
And it's really not so much about a firearm. It's people don't realize what the adrenaline of shooting a gun does to you and how it makes you feel. And it's just amazing. I see people every day, and it's amazing.
And most importantly, I want to get my carry permit so that I'm able to carry wherever I go, and I can get that from you, correct? You have instructors who will show me how to do that in a very quick fashion, a very legal fashion, and kind of work me through the whole process, right?
Yeah, so CCW classes we offer every Saturday and Sunday, except for days when we have events like this Saturday. We won't have a CCW class
Because the NRA event's happening.
We have 3 or 4 other events going on, but We have them every Saturday and Sunday, and then during the week we rotate the days so that everybody can adapt to a day.
And you just go once? I mean, how?
It's a 1-day, 8-hour class by law,
Mhm.
and you come in and you qualify, and you do that, and then you take your paperwork down to Metro, and you also get, when you qualify, you get the Arizona certificate, you get a certificate for Utah, and you get a certificate for Florida if you want
So you
to.
carry them in your car when you're going to travel to those states?
You carry those with you if you're going to go to those particular states with a concealed weapon. Right now, Nevada, if you have Nevada and Utah, your reciprocity for all those states, there's probably about 40 states that you're covered in.
Wow.
So as long as you're a Nevada resident and you get a Nevada CCW, you can go to other states that will
And the
recognize it.
hope is, of course, that Donald Trump will lead Congress to pass a law that gives reciprocity. Is that the right word? Reciprocity to the whole country. If I get a permit here, why shouldn't I be able to carry it any one of the 48 mainland states? Why not?
There's no reason.
Right.
You know, if we're doing a qualified course here that's the sheriffs have approved, if we get a national person that can go in and say, yes, this is an approved course, let's have it national reciprocity, so that now myself driving from Nevada and I want to take a trip to Florida and drive across the country, I don't have to map out every state I'm going to enter into and find out if I'm okay. The same rules should apply everywhere in the U.S.
Great. I still remember to this day, you know, the scariest story, the saddest story I ever heard was a young man, probably like 26, 27 years old, lives in Colorado, gets in a fight with his girlfriend, his wife. They decide they're getting divorced. He storms out. Over the next day, he packs everything he's got, puts it in the back of his car, and drives home to his mom and dad's house in New Jersey. He's within blocks of their house in New Jersey, and a cop pulls him over for speeding. Do you have a gun in the car? He answers honestly, yes, I have a gun in the car. They go in his trunk. They find the gun packed away deep underneath stuff, cannot get to it. It is not loaded. But in New Jersey, a gun in your car without a CCW, which I don't think you can even get, you are sentenced to 8 years in prison. He had to have his sentence commuted by Chris Christie, the governor, after a year. He spent a year with the most vicious, he said the most horrible, heinous criminals in New Jersey who wanted to murder him or beat him or, I'm sure, rape him every day for a year in a horrible maximum security prison. What was his crime? Nothing. There is no crime there.
No, it's just... It's so ignorant, the laws in different states.
Right.
You know, I mean, I realize that everybody wants the states to have their own, you know, and have
states'
the power
rights,
to have their own rights. But there has to be some common nationality throughout the country.
Well, especially
that
for
we can
this.
all follow.
Listen, I would not feel safe in my home without owning a gun. I've got a .357 Magnum, and I'm always prepared to use it, and it's there with me at all times. And I want to get a CCW permit so that everywhere I go, I am safe, and I can not only feel safe about myself and my family, but I also, if there's a crime going on, perhaps I could save the day. That's the way a citizen should think, I think, and a way to learn and do it right so you don't hurt anybody, you don't hurt an innocent person, you don't hurt yourself, you don't allow your family to be hurt, is to get educated at a place like Green Valley Range, where you have all kinds of gun safety classes. Very, very important that people who carry guns, that we defend our rights, but at the same time, we never embarrass the conservative movement or the Second Amendment gun movement by doing something stupid with our guns. So you've got to get educated in how to use it and how to more importantly, not allow it to get in someone else's hands, how not to shoot the wrong person. So we're never embarrassed. I feel very strongly about that.
Yeah, it's called responsible gun ownership. It's a responsibility.
And it's what you teach.
If you own a firearm, you have to have the responsibility of that firearm. And that's, even if you don't ever want to carry concealed, just to take that class will teach you more about the laws in this state and what you can do and what you can't do and where you can have a firearm. It's worth it just for that, even if you don't turn in the
I will be there in the next few days. I'm coming.
Okay.
I'm coming. And by the way, reminder to everyone, 2 events going on. NRA Membership Drive, Patriot Drive at Green Valley Range this Saturday, April 1st from 10 in the morning till 3 p.m. Free food, free drinks, free hot dogs, free gifts from the NRA and the Green Valley Range. And then how about on Wednesday, April 12th at Green Valley Range, 6:30. So after the show is over, head on over to the Green Valley Range training facility. Again, 174 Cassia Way. It is a town hall meeting with the NRA at Green Valley Range. So obviously, the NRA and the Green Valley Range are simpatico. You guys are really tuned in together, and they appreciate what you do for the gun industry, and so do I. So do all the listeners of War Now. We appreciate the reason all of you can listen to this show. If you enjoy Wayne Root and you enjoy the guests, you enjoy calling in, guess what? It's because people like Jerry and Green Valley Range are paying for you to listen for free. They're paying the bill so you can listen to free. So we really owe you a great debt of gratitude. Jerry, thank you so much for coming on.
Well, I thank you, and it's great, and I listen to you every day, and keep giving them heck.
I give him hell. You can say hell on the show. It's okay. You're a little too nice. I'm going to say hell. We give him hell. But you give him hell, and you teach me how to get my CCW permit so that I feel safe everywhere I go. And I got to tell you, I really thank you because that's a big thing you're doing for me. So I can't wait to take the course. Wayne Allyn, War Now. Tell everyone the best way to contact you at Green Valley Range.
They can call me every day, 702-979-9494. Just ask for Jerry, 702-979-9494.
My paisan, because I'm Italian now. My paisan, Jerry Tuminia, Green Valley Range, an entrepreneur, a former police officer in Henderson, and now the owner and proprietor of Green Valley Range and the sponsor of this show, War Now. We thank you. Thank you, Jerry. Great to see you, man. Thanks for coming in. We'll be right back when we do your calls. 844-WAR Now 1. Thank you, Cindy Parker, for coming in and bringing Jerry and watching the show. Beautiful ladies of the GOP. There ain't nobody like Cindy in the Democratic Party. There wasn't one at that march in Washington, D.C. Not one woman with the beauty of our Republican beauty queen, Cindy. We'll be right back. All right, Wayne Allyn, War Now. War Now, 790 Talk Now in Vegas, 98.1 FM. April 10th, national syndication all over the place. Lots of good things happening. Callers, 844-WAR Now 1, 844-WAR Now 1. We'll take a quick call right now. We've got Jay, who's been waiting patiently on line 1. Hey, Jay, how are you?
Hey, Wayne. Just had a question for you. Did maybe you, because you have your investigative arm now, is the bus shooter, was he here illegally?
You know, someone asked me this yesterday, Jay, and my answer was, I think it was Megan who asked me in the first part of the show, and I said, Megan, I'd be willing to bet you my last dollar that he's an illegal. We don't know that because the police have refused to state what his legal status is. Doesn't that tell you he's illegal? When the police say it's not our job to tell you what his status is, so we refuse to give that information out. You know what I think? That means they're covering up and that he's very, absolutely the odds are very high he's illegal. So my guess is yes, but I'm admitting it's just a educated guess. Make sense?
Wow, so that's interesting because I got an email from Metro saying that they are cooperating with ICE and they're following the law, but they're not reporting it. I hope that they're not saying one thing and doing another.
Well, no, two different things. See, what they were in trouble for theoretically was ICE claimed Metro was not cooperating with ICE, and ICE was not making that up. Two sides can each be telling the truth based on what they think. I believe that Metro was not in compliance with ICE as far as detaining illegals for a couple of years under Barack Obama, and maybe now they're back in compliance and ICE was operating on the old information. So they were both telling the truth, kind of. That may be what happened, but this situation has nothing to do with that. What Metro said was we're under no obligation to report the nationality, legal or illegal, of a person we arrest. This has nothing to do with detaining them at ICE's request. This was a media request. Is he legal or not? And they said, we don't have to report that. Go speak to ICE. Two completely different issues. So when Metro says we're not going to tell you if he's illegal, my guess is that means he's illegal, and I think you could bet your last dollar he is. How about that?
So is there a way to confirm it or get that information that you know of? I mean, I'm willing to do a little bit of legwork to myself just to get the word out there if it is, because that needs to.
All right, Jay.
There's victims that.
Jay, we got to go. We're just right up against the news, so I'll do my best to find out. I'll see if I can get an answer on that. Thank you for calling in, Wayne Allyn. It's news time. When we get back your calls, 844-WAR Now 1. 844-WAR Now 1. 44. All right, this is War. Wayne Allyn, middle-class warrior, relentless freedom fighter, capitalist evangelist, conservative rock star, and all-around lovable badass. Here with you on War Now. Interesting story in the New York Post. Huma Aberdeen was asked in 2010 to plan Hillary's funeral. A longtime aide to Hillary Clinton sought to map out her funeral in 2010 because planning is best done when they're still with us, according to an email released Wednesday by Judicial Watch. When guys like me were talking about Hillary being a very sick woman in 2016 running for president, 2015 and 16 running for president. We all thought she was very sickly and very sick. And many emails were dropped by Wikipedia that basically proved that she's a very sick woman with some sort of a neuromuscular disease, probably Parkinson's disease, if neuromuscular is the right way to put it. I think it is. Parkinson's disease. How do we know? Because there were Wikipedia emails dropped by Huma, released that were sent by Huma that basically said Hillary was so interested in specific research into a specific Parkinson's disease drug. So you cannot tell me that she doesn't have Parkinson's. And here they were literally planning her funeral in 2010, a very young woman planning her funeral. At that point, she was, 62 years old. Capricia Marshall, who was chief of protocol for the State Department when Hillary served as Secretary of State, wrote to Huma Aberdeen, Doug Band, and Cheryl Mills, those were three top executives, in February of 2010, saying, every time someone significant passes, I am flooded with requests about the Clintons' arrangements. Planning is necessary and best done when they are still with us. So obviously there was some thought there for both of them because Bill's very sickly, almost died of a heart problem and had open heart surgery. And Hillary was very sickly. So just interesting to see things like this from 2010, not from 2015, but from 2010. Other things in the news of interest, and there are lots of them. It looks like a vote will be set by the Republican Congress on Obamacare repeal and replacement next week. I opened the show by saying it was going to happen on Friday, but it's actually next week. I said Friday or next week. I couldn't remember which one I'd seen. Well, it is, in fact, next week. They're calling for that Obamacare vote, according to Zero Hedge, which is where I saw it. And as I said in the opening of the show, you can bet that they're not doing this unless they know they've got the votes. They can't be that dumb. Trump can't be that dumb. The Republican Congress, Paul Ryan, once is horrible. Twice in a 2-week period, if you fail both times, you look like complete idiots. There's no way they're doing it unless they know. Here's the news story. And I predicted this all along, that they would come back and pass it and wipe the smirk off the Democrats' face quickly. In an otherwise quiet day on the political front, moments ago, Bloomberg dropped the surprising news of the day with a report that House Republicans are considering another try next week at passing the health care bill they abruptly pulled last Friday in an embarrassing setback to their efforts to repeal Obamacare. Speaking of Bloomberg, 2 Republicans said that leaders are discussing holding a vote, even staying into the weekend if necessary, although it's unclear what changes would be made to the GOP's health bill. The ray of hope for Trump and Ryan is that members of the Freedom Caucus have been talking with some Republican moderate holdouts in an effort to identify changes that could bring them on board with the measure. Of course, everything is about pressure. There's no question the Freedom Caucus is under tremendous pressure. This bill killed abortion funding for Planned Parenthood. Everything they've ever dreamed of, and they voted. They would have voted against it, and they killed it. So the vote was postponed. Really, this bill would have killed all the taxes of Obamacare this year. And the Freedom Caucus, the conservative members, the most conservative members of the House, were the ones who killed it? Are you kidding me? You don't think they're under tremendous pressure from their own constituents? Ridiculous. A renewed attempt to pass Obamacare repeal would come after President Trump and Republican leaders in Congress said they would move on to issues like tax overhaul in the wake of last week's drama. Asked if the GOP health bill will come up again, House Majority Leader Kevin McCarthy said yes, as soon as we figure it out and get the votes. Right. All they needed was 10 votes or so. You don't think they could twist 10 arms? So is this official? I said it was official in the first hour. McCarthy said nothing is currently scheduled, but lots of people are talking and lots of people are working. So the point is, it looks pretty good they're going to do something next week, and I would think it looks pretty good they're going to pass it. Even Paul Ryan is encouraging members to continue talking to each other about health care to get to a place of yes on a plan to repeal and replace Obamacare. I mean, there's got to be a compromise that would move House Freedom Caucus Chairman Mark Meadows, a North Carolina Republican. He was the thorn in the side. He's got to be getting such pressure from his constituents. Every businessman in his district. You know, somebody sent me a letter the other day, an email. Wayne, how could you? You're such a conservative, and you're the guy rooting for Obamacare Light or Obamacare Light 2.0, I think it said. You just don't get it. I'm a guy who would fight with everything I've got for Rand Paul's Obamacare replacement and repeal, which I think is the perfect one. But it has zero chance of passing. So you mean to you it's better to leave Obamacare in place as it destroys the American economy, blows up the entire middle class's income, kills every small business in America? That's all a better alternative to you than something far better, but not perfect. Well, I don't agree. I don't agree at all. The job of a conservative is to fight for the best bill you can get and then compromise and take the best you can get, which isn't the perfect one. Okay? So I could fight all day long for zero income tax, and I'll settle for 15% flat like Hong Kong, which is the best tax system in the world. Right? That's what I'd like to do. But when I realize that can't pass, it has zero chance of passing, guess what? At that point, I'll take 28% taxes, which is still the same as Ronald Reagan, which was the lowest rate in modern history. And if I have to, I'll even take 33%. It's still a lot better than 43%. Why can't conservatives understand that? And the answer is they're not businessmen like me. If you're a businessman, you absolutely, positively are willing to compromise and accept whatever's the best deal you can get, because that's business. And if you are a politician who knows nothing about business, then you're not willing to accept a compromise. Well, that's your problem. Then you don't understand a damn thing about anything. All right. Multiple House Republicans, what did I just tell you? Said they've heard from constituents who want to still repeal the Affordable Care Act and hope the issue isn't dead. Of course not. Of course you want to pass it. Because Obamacare is killing the country. You know, Greg Walden, a Republican from Oregon and former Energy and Commerce Committee chairman, went downright religious on Tuesday. He said, we're approaching Easter season. Some things rise from the dead. Seems to me that, like Jesus, the repeal of Obamacare has got to rise from the dead. The Republican Party promised it for 7 years, and you have to deliver. And if you have to deliver Obamacare Light, as they call it, and that's, by the way, it's just a name. That's what they call it. It doesn't get rid of some of the taxes. It doesn't get rid of 2/3 of the taxes. It gets rid of 100% of the Obamacare taxes. Why is that Obamacare Light? That's a repeal, folks. And there are lots of other things in it that I find fantastic. We have to put pressure on our Congress people and our senators to pass it, because that's what's going to win us in 2018. That's what's going to win us a giant victory as we retain the House and the Senate and expand our majorities. If you don't pass Obamacare repeal, you are never going to win in 2018. It's over. You've killed yourselves. You committed harikari, as the Japanese would say. You fell on your sword, you idiots. You have to pass the best deal you could pass and get this monstrosity out of our lives as best you can. Now, the perfect one, I agree, would be either Rand Paul, or how about the simplicity of just one sentence: Obamacare is repealed. And then you vote one by one on every single replacement, and you piece it together piecemeal. Well, guess what? That wouldn't pass. There's no way. You don't get one Democrat vote, and you wouldn't get one moderate establishment Republican vote. Would not pass. This is the best you can do. Take it and walk away. That's how all businessmen and generals think, right? Do you think a general, a 5-star general, you think he wants to send his men into battle and die? You think he wants to lose one man? Nobody wants to write a letter to parents saying your son just died under my command. No one. But you know what? On the first day of battle, you take the hill, and 3,000 men died, and you go, wow, I thought we might lose 6,000. I'll take it. That's not one dead man. That's 3,000 of your men are dead, and you're sad, you're respectful, but you're also relieved because you thought it would be twice that. Do you understand? That's life, man. You've got to compromise. You got to negotiate, compromise, settle, and accept. That's the way it works. 3,000 dead is better than 6,000 dead. And you know what? We took the hill. God bless. Thank God. I'm sad for the ones who died. I'm thrilled we didn't lose twice as many. That's a compromise. That's the way you got to see Obamacare light. I don't think it's Obamacare light, by the way, but that's what, some conservatives have named it. I don't agree. It gets rid of all the taxes that are killing the American economy. It gets rid of the mandate. And when you get rid of the mandate, no one's going to ever want Obamacare again. It's not Obamacare light. I disagree. It does so many good things. I wish I had the whole list in front of me. It's too much to even remember. I didn't memorize it. It's good on like 20 counts, and it's bad on like 2. Okay. That's not better than bad on all 22? We got to pass, I guess you'd call it Trump care or Donald care, the replacement to Obamacare. We got to erase Obama like he never existed, and that's what I elected Donald Trump to do. And that's what this does, along with all the other great things Donald's doing. I'm Wayne Allyn. We're going to take a break. When we get back, take your calls, 844-WAR-NOW-1. We'll have a great guest, Matthew Schiff. Schiff Happens, my childhood buddy who's a comedian. Matthew Schiff will be in the house. He is one of the funniest guys in the world, and he'll have the funniest news stories of the day. Wayne Allyn. Hey, Charlie, wake up, brother. We're going to a break. Charlie's on the phone with one of my callers, and he's not paying attention to me. We're going to a break. You're not happy I'm ending early, my friend? I'm ending on time or early. Wayne Allyn, War Now. When we return, Matthew Schiff, Schiff Happens, and your calls, 844-WAR-NOW-1. All right, Schiff does occasionally happen. They also say Schiff falls downhill. And Matthew Schiff is with us, my old childhood buddy. We always have a great time. We have a blast together, although in the past, he'll go over with me what stories he's going to do on the show. And I was so busy today, we never did it. So anything could happen. This is what you call live radio. I have no idea what Schiff is falling downhill right now, but I do have Matt Schiff on the line. Hey, Matt, how are you?
Wayne, you and I are like the flying Walendas of radio without a net right now.
That's it.
Except we're both taller and better looking.
So tell me about the big, exciting news stories of the day that you wanted to comment on.
One hits pretty close to home to you. Vegas, sex-oriented restaurants. It seems it's not enough for people to get a good meal anymore. They want brimming and much sexuality while they are eating their food. K-Air in China has blow-up dolls on the wall. They feed you with cups that look like women's boobs. You have the Geisha House, Las Vegas, which will serve you sushi literally on a woman's body, a live, beautiful woman's body.
Wait, stop, roll back, hold on. That's in Vegas?
Yes, it is. I hate to school you about your own town because I know you're
Geisha
Daddy
House?
Mac. Yes. Geisha House, Las Vegas, maybe, after the show. What do you know?
Listen, I don't think that sex and food really go together, to be honest with you, but, two very different things. I don't want to eat on top of a naked woman. That's kind of weird, isn't it?
The reason why you and I were so close as children, we're still like brothers, is I want to eat my sushi and pizza. I don't necessarily, want that distraction either. I don't really get the obsession, to tell you the truth. I mean, I can eat seafood without having a blow-up doll on the wall and
exactly.
a guy with fake boobs in my face. But, that's a different culture, China. I mean, there's a lot of things, in the Orient people think are hip and interesting that is just beyond me.
So educate me and my listeners again. What does the Geisha House in Vegas allow you to do?
They actually, instead of the sushi being served on a platter, they literally place the morsels of sushi upon a gorgeous woman's body.
Really?
And you pick the sushi up off of her body. I mean, yeah. I mean, by the way, I've seen that trend before.
We're always looking for new sponsors of the show, so I think a new sponsor is born. There it is.
We definitely Geisha House, Las Vegas. Let's get in contact with them. little California roll, if you know what I mean.
Yes, California roll, little California morality too. All right, next story. Move on. Next story.
Little Chucky Schumer freaks out in Manhattan a couple of nights ago.
Yes, now this one I discussed on my show yesterday, so it's not new news, but not everybody listens to the same show, same hour, every day, and so some people weren't listening yesterday. Go ahead and educate everybody about the Chuck Schumer explosion.
The Chuck Schumer freakout at Sette Mezzo Poor Joseph Califano, formerly of the Carter administration, actually the Secretary of Health and welfare, along with his beautiful wife, were just, trying to have a gourmet Italian meal, and somehow Chuck Schumer knew that his wife had voted for Trump and had a complete tantrum, screaming at her in the restaurant, "How could you do it? He's a liar." Him being the classy older gentleman, and his wife, that they are, left the restaurant, and the moron followed them outside and still began to scream, wouldn't even leave them alone as they departed from the restaurant. And what's interesting is his wife is the daughter of William Paley, who is the founder of CBS. CBS, yeah. I mean,
well, here's what's
almost American royalty.
Here's what I want everybody at home to understand. Because if you listened, quickly, Matt and I are fast New York talkers. If you listen quickly, you might have heard kind of, oh, okay, somebody was berating a wife who voted for Donald Trump and then chased them outside and berated them, and Matt was calling him an idiot. That person berating them was United States Senator Chuck Schumer, who's the minority leader of the United States Senate, the leading Democrat, some would argue, in the entire United States, the old role of Harry Reid. It's hard to believe that guy would do something so embarrassing and so off the wall, so unhinged in public. Amazing. Democrats are completely losing their minds.
I mean, and they try to leave the restaurant, and he follows them outside, and he's screaming on the sidewalk. Wayne, if somebody did that to me, they would be in physical peril, whether they're affiliated with Washington or not. I mean, it's just not the way you behave. And I would think both of these people have to be in their mid to late 70s. I mean, sort of a stressful, shocking thing at any age, let alone someone who's that elderly.
And this is why I argue that Donald Trump is great for the conservative cause. Do you know yesterday I was talking about you on the air? I don't know if your ears were burning. But in this very topic, on this very story, what I said was, see what you think of this, because you didn't know I said this about you. I said when I was a kid, on the streets of New York, there's a lot of physical fights, which I was in plenty of those. But there's also something we used to call crack fights, and you'd find out the one thing. I said my buddy Matt, who's going to be on the show tomorrow, Schiff happens. Matt Schiff was better within a second of meeting someone at figuring out the one most painful thing in life about that they hated to think about themselves. Are they balding? Are they fat? Are they ugly? Is their nose big? Is their wife ugly? And within seconds, Matt would figure out how he could twist the knife and destroy them, and they'd run away crying like a 5-year-old because he just found that pressure point. And I said, for Schumer to go nuts like that, Donald Trump is the best crack fighter ever. He's better than Matt Schiff. Donald Trump is tweeting late at night, and he enrages people like Schumer, and he's gotten under their skin the way you used to be good at, and they're running away crying like unhinged losers. And that's what Donald Trump has done. And I applaud him, and I think it's great.
Bravo. And
but isn't that what you're good at? Seriously, all BS aside.
By the way, I still can do it. It's just at 50-something, I temper a little. But I've been known to shoot from the hip occasionally still, and it's a lot of fun.
You say shoot from the hip, and I say you're kicking him in the balls is what you're doing.
Yeah, exactly. Pretty much these spiritual and psychic balls, if you will.
Yes, next story. Next colorful and interesting story out there.
Our good friend from North Korea, Kim Jong-un, is having a tantrum because the Chinese media is referring to him, this guy running a country, as Kim Fatty III. And his inner circle is super scared because whenever this guy gets upset, he looks for a victim and or a scapegoat to blame it on. So his inner circle's afraid that they're going to be poisoned and or hung and or firing squatted because they're calling that fat jerk fat in the Chinese media. And then to add insult to injury, American politicians are referring to him as that fat crazy kid. And so there's going to be North Korean politicians dropping like flies. You
didn't mention really his worst form of torture as you're dying. I don't know if you knew about it, but Kim's uncle was a general. And somehow Kim got the idea that the uncle was being some sort of a traitor or betraying him in some way. And so he fed his uncle to a group of feral pigs, which means they rip you from limb to limb and eat you while you're alive. That's how he died.
That's not even original because there are 2 movies that he got that from.
Right. Well,
The movie Snatch did that, and then there was a Hannibal Lecter movie where they did that. This guy wouldn't have a creative, normal bone in his body. He can't even think stuff up. He steals it from Hollywood.
yeah, he stole it from Snatched. I remember that scene in Snatched, actually.
Yeah, exactly.
I do remember that.
But Snatch, one of my favorite gangster movies of all time, actually.
Pretty good. It's up there. It's on my list. It's pretty good. I don't know if you watched the movie, by the way. I just watched it the other day. One of my favorite Westerns of all time, Forsaken with Kiefer Sutherland from 2 years ago.
I have not seen that.
Killer movie, killer. And it's really a moral tale about life. And the basic gist is he was one of the great gunfighters in the West, and he's killed many, many people. And he's just embarrassed at it and feels sick to his stomach and decides to give up guns forever and comes home to his father, who's a Christian pastor of the church, and is embarrassed at what he's become and wants to make up for it in God's eyes and refuses to ever fight again. And he happens to ride into the western town with his father, the pastor, where what's going on is a rich man is taking everyone's land at gunpoint and literally saying, take my check for 1/8 of what your land's worth, or I'll kill your husband, to every woman in the town. And they're all leaving. And he's chased them out of town because people are afraid to fight a bully. The bully has like 8 gunfighters with him. And they push and they push and they push and they hurt and they kill several people that this guy knew as a kid growing up. And then they finally make the mistake of pushing the pastor himself, and they stab him in the back, the father. And so the son picks up guns again, and one of the greatest scenes you'll ever find of him getting revenge. It is a great movie. Kiefer Sutherland guns down the entire gang. That, my friends, is the real world, man. You can't ever put your guns down. You can't. Guns being not the real necessarily physical form of a gun, but just you can never just pack it away one day and say, I'm going to turn the other cheek, I will not answer. Because it doesn't work in the real world. When you turn the cheek, they'll hit you with a baseball bat and you die. You hit your head on the concrete and you die. You have to be willing to fight for what you believe in at all times. And here's the irony. When you fight, the people that you hate respect you for fighting. When you turn the other cheek, they mock you and they laugh at you. And I learned that, in Mount Vernon High School, Mount Vernon, New York. And I learned that there's only one way to approach life, and that's to always stand up and fight, always. And so great movie, Forsaken, with Kiefer Sutherland. When you watch that last scene, Matt, you're going to tell me one of the best last scenes ever. Really good. I love it when a guy gains revenge. I love it. All right.
I'm going to check that out.
Next big story. Next colorful story.
Artificial intelligence. A mind trust which includes Elon Musk, the founder of SpaceX and Tesla.
We know him very
Bill
well.
Gates.
We know him well because he's the guy that's built his plant in northern Nevada and got a $2 billion check from the governor to move into northern Nevada. This guy is a scam artist. I hate to say it, but that's what Elon Musk really is. He just goes from state to state and extorts them. Hey, if I come here, will you give me no taxes for the next 20 years on payroll, on sales tax, on property tax? And if I owe any income tax, I don't owe anything. I won't pay a thing. Will you let me do that? And he opens up 10 plants. His entire income, he's never made a profit. His income is all extorting money from dumb governors. It's unbelievable.
That's a promoter, my man.
Yeah, well, see, the problem is when you do that, the governor is giving away my taxpayer money and your taxpayer money. So in the end, it would be harmless if he was dumb enough to give away his own money. Then I'd say, yes, I'm always for a salesman, a pitchman, and a promoter. That's what I am. I'm a gunslinger, baby. And so I respect that if you're good at it. But he's not taking private sector money. He's taking our tax money, and that makes him a Bernie Madoff ripoff artist, and that makes the governors thieves who are stealing taxpayer money to make this guy feel good so that he in turn gives them a nice donation for their little next political run. That's the way the game really works, and that's what bothers me. See, I've never stolen anybody's money. It's not stealing to be a good salesman and convince them to hand you a check. Stealing is when you go to a governor and say, I'll give you $1 million contribution if you get me $1 billion tax write-off, and then the governor grabs other people's money to give you the $1 billion. That's all, in my opinion, criminal.
Okay, should I move on to another story?
I guess
you don't have obviously no strong opinion about Elon Musk.
Yeah, no strong opinion about Elon.
I gather you're not driving a Tesla.
He's also very confused. I got to tell you a personal story about Elon Musk. I don't mean that I know.
Go.
Elon Musk has been married and gotten together 3 times with the same woman. That's a strange, psychologically bereft psychologically adrift and dysfunctional human being. He's not a man I would trust my money with. He was engaged to a girl. Here's my understanding. Engaged to a girl, broke up with her, got back and married her, divorced her. Now he's back with her again, and I heard he's breaking up with her again. The same woman like 6 times. There's something psychologically weak about Elon Musk, okay?
By the way, not to wax personally, but my dad pretty much did that to my mother, actually.
Well, and is he not dysfunctional? Yes, he is.
Absolutely.
And that's why you're
certainly not the greatest.
That's why you are a comedian today. I mean, that's the whole reason. You're funny.
Pretty much the anguish from that. Exactly
right. You were psychologically destroyed by your father's dysfunction, and now you're a very funny guy. There it is. Okay.
Yeah, exactly. I want to scam the Nevada government for $3 billion. That's the only difference.
Well, you should. You're making a big mistake because we have an incredibly dumb governor, obviously, and he's open for business. So come on down, Matt. He's got $1 billion for you too.
I want $10,000 a laugh. You think he'll pay us?
I think he would because it's not his money. He doesn't care. His name's Brian. His name's Brian Sandoval. Look him up.
Okay, I will do
He's
that.
the perfect mark. He's the perfect mark. Look him up. All right, next story.
What we have is very, very lifelike, computerized, artificial-oriented sex dolls. Believe it or not.
How did I know? How did I know that's where you were going? I knew exactly.
I had a guy. Well, I mean, after Elon Musk, where else could we go?
I would say one out of every 3 stories you brought to the show involves a sex doll.
No, because I sense that you kind of like these stories. So we're gonna they actually program.
Can I eat my dinner on the sex doll?
Yeah, no, if you want to, just have to blow her up a lot. But the thing about the sex doll is not only does she have artificial intelligence, but she has built-in G-spots at various important parts of her body, and she will talk to you. And you can actually switch her on to 2 modes. There's family mode, and then there's sexy mode. I mean, it's absolutely fantastic. I mean, it's not necessarily my cup of tea, but and she also, for the international set, she has an American accent. So I guess in parts unknown, people find it attractive and alluring to sound like an American. Absolutely unbelievable.
Interesting. And all the men who are divorced who are listening to the show right now are going, that sounds interesting, right? I never have to marry someone who gets half my money again. So you don't have to give half your money to a doll when you decide to break up with her.
Or just remarry them like Elon Musk. You can just put her in the closet.
No, you just put her in the dumpster. Seriously.
He can buy her again if you want to.
You can.
Or just shut her off and turn her back on.
So the perfect future ex-wife. There it is, right there from Matthew Schiff.
I mean, well, you could tell why I've been married twice. I mean, obviously, maybe not the best person to go to, but I mean, I would save Elon a lot of money. I mean, all the money that he scammed from Nevada, he wouldn't have to give to the doll, which would otherwise have been his wife. That's fantastic.
There it is. We've just tied this entire series of stories together. Elon Musk living happily ever after with a sex doll instead of going back to the same woman again and again and again and giving her $10 million to go away each time. Probably gives her $20 million to go away each time. What does he care? It's taxpayer money. He's never made anything.
In the back seat of a Tesla, which gets 45 miles to the gallon,
and 45 sex robots to the back seat. There you go. It all makes sense now. It all makes perfect sense.
Wait, can I tell you something? I'm having an epiphany. I when I get off the phone, I'm just going to have to go for a long walk. This show is WAR now is just. And Elon has changed me. I am better for this segment.
Just be glad that you grew up with your childhood buddy, W.A.R, because now I'm going national, which means your comedy routine goes national, and you've just hit the big time, my friend. That's all I want to. April 10th is the first day that USA Radio Network syndicates this show all over the country, and Matthew Schiff and Schiff Happens will be known from coast to coast, just so you know.
I am jazzed, baby, and I'm sure Elon is jazzed, and I'm sure the blow-up dolls are jazzed, and I'm sure the despot in North Korea is jazzed, and it's just a win-win, baby. We're going to take the country by storm.
And by the way, I'm one of the world's biggest fans of Donald Trump, so don't take this in a negative way, but Donald Trump is not a guy that you want to screw with. And so if the guy from North Korea thinks he wants to be the first guy to threaten America with nuclear attack, he may get a really bad surprise from Donald Trump. There may be not SWAT teams, but Navy SEALs teams preparing to jump into his palace and cut his throat like tomorrow. You know, I got this feeling that Donald Trump doesn't take it lightly when someone threatens the entire United States with nuclear attack. He may just go in and solve this problem really quickly, and the whole world will stand back and applaud. And after we get rid of Kim, I suggest we feed him to the feral pigs.
Via Snatch and via Hannibal Lecter, yeah, absolutely.
That would be a fitting end for Kim Jong.
Tastes just like chicken.
With kind of a Korean sauce on it, you know? Just
exactly.
kind of
A little spicier, though.
Yeah, spicy chicken.
Spicy.
Spicy chicken at a Korean restaurant.
With some fava beans in the back of a Tesla.
All right, Matthew Schiff. Schiff happens. He's going national, too, so good things happening for the whole crew. I feel like Howard Stern when he took all the crazy people with him. I've got my
Baba
Schiff.
Booey.
Yeah, you're my Baba Booey. All right, Schiff. Have yourself a great day. Thanks for the stories. And
you got it, brother, man. Speak to you soon.
You better bring your A game when the show goes national, buddy. That's all I'm going to say.
That's all I know, baby, is A. That's what I'm bringing.
Well, then you got to bring A+ now. I just want you to know. You gotta
okay.
Step it up.
I can do it.
Step it up one
I'm
level.
stepping it up.
One level beyond sex dolls, okay? I just want you to understand.
There you go. Yeah. Are you giggling right now? So meanwhile, it's working somehow.
All right.
Yes, we're gonna go past them.
Tell everyone how they find you on Twitter, by the way.
That's Shift Happens 77. Let's tweet.
Is that like 77 Sunset Strip groovy, baby?
Yes, it is.
All
yes,
right.
it is. 7's also the number of abundance. It's often the number of perfection.
And when you're on the craps table, it's 7, baby.
Exactly.
You probably didn't know that because you're not a gambler, but okay, you're a comedian. I'm a gambler.
Can I tell you, just talking to me makes you happy. I mean, you were like having your root rant, and you didn't sound that happy, and you're talking to Matt for 10 minutes, and you're happy now. Fantastic.
There it is. Matthew Schiff. Schiff happens. Thanks for the childhood memories.
Thanks, brother man. Speak to you soon.
Wayne Allyn, War Now. When we get back, your calls 844 War Now 1 844 War Now 1. All right, Wayne Allyn, great segment with Matthew Schiff. As always, he brings me back to being two 18-year-old boys hanging out together in Westchester County, New York, long time ago. From a funny segment to kind of a horror segment, horror report, terrible highway crash today in Texas of a church bus head-on into a pickup truck near Garner State Park. According to Texas State Troopers, 12 people killed, 3 injured in a head-on crash. What a terrible thing. And you just wonder, you know. I'm a big God guy. I'm a big prayer guy. I'm a big believer. But, you know, who doesn't wonder, how could a church bus go head-on? Those people were church people. Those people believed in God, had faith in God. And you just wonder, why do things like that happen? I've never had an answer to that except for whatever reason, it was their time to go. And God wants them maybe in heaven. I don't know. But there's no real answer to why good people so often die, right? There have been whole books written about it. One of my heroes, Reverend Robert Schuller, one of the great Christian pastors of all time, Reverend Schuller from the, what was it called? A Crystal Pavilion, I think, in Orange County, California. Just an amazing guy, a guy who invented having a church service in a drive-in movie theater in the 1950s in California. Crystal Cathedral, that's the name. Crystal Cathedral was what he built from scratch. It was, you know, a several $100 million amazing church in Orange County. I think Garden Grove, I remember correctly, was the name of the town. And he wrote a book, When Bad Things Happen to Good People, because his daughter was in a motorcycle accident and lost her leg. And you just go, here's one of the greatest preachers in the world. Shouldn't God love him and show him favor? And his daughter almost dies, comes within an inch of losing her life, and loses her leg. And it made even him question, how do you not see 12 people killed in a bus, a church bus, coming to or from a church event, and your life's over? And you just go, wow, there's a lot of sinners out there who are going to live another 50 years, and these people are cut short on a church bus going to a church picnic or something. Wow. It just makes you think. But in the end, I know one thing. When I pray, I feel better. So I think he's listening, and I think there's someone out there. When I pray, I always feel better. So I will always continue to pray no matter what things happen that make you question. But it's definitely a weird thing, right? 12 people killed on a church bus in a head-on crash in Texas. Sad. Let's say a nice prayer for all those people and all those affected and all their friends and relatives affected by all this that they get through it with prayer and with faith. All right, we've got caller JD on line 1. JD, you're on with W.A.R. How are you?
I'm doing great. How about you?
I'm doing okay. I'm glad I'm still alive and I'm not a few feet under.
Yeah.
So we all have to
Hey,
think about
I'm going
that.
to ask you a question, not to embarrass you, because I just found out about it myself.
Sure.
Did you hear on any of the national news that President Trump met with 7 members of the Black Caucus?
It wasn't on the national news, but I did know about it. I did see it on some news site. You know, I'm everywhere. When I'm not on the show, I'm looking at everything on the internet. And yes, I did see that, but I heard nothing from the members of that caucus but negative talk about Donald Trump, about what he had to say in the meeting. So it's like a slap in the face. You actually being a Republican willing to meet with black Democrats, and instead of saying thank you, they're just criticizing you for the meeting. So it makes you not want to go to those meetings anymore, right? I mean, they should be thankful that President Trump is taking an interest in the black community and wants to help. And so the last thing they should do is criticize.
That black reporter, April Ryan, that was in the news yesterday from the American Urban Radio Network, was part of that. And he met with 7 Congress people, including Andre Carson from Indiana, who is affiliated with Farrakhan and called for all kinds of heinous acts in this country, and the leader one of the leaders, Clyburn from South Carolina.
Yeah.
But it's interesting, the article by Clarence Page, a black columnist from the Chicago Tribune,
Who hates Trump, by the way, hates Trump.
He ends his article, right. They presented him with a 130-page policy memo and shared other information if he ever gets around to reading it.
Well, that's what I mean. See?
I mean, the man goes out of his way. Did Obama ever meet with the Black Caucus? I don't know. But anyhow,
well, wait. How about this? Wait, but to put it in proper perspective, JD, did Obama ever say, I'll meet with a group of 7 white Republican conservative Tea Party leaders? That would be the same thing. And he never did. And he never will in his lifetime. So why should Trump meet with 7 black liberal Democrats and be met with criticism instead of applause for it? It's absolutely ridiculous because Obama would never give us the same time of day.
Well, the irony is you have your districts that are in disarray, and the President of the United States is willing to talk to you about helping you, and you come out of the meeting, going into the meeting, dissing him. So, but more importantly, I would like you, and I'm doing some research, to keep your ears open for a woman named Dr. Allyn Farkas, Farkas. She was an Assistant Secretary of Defense for Obama. She was on Morning Joe recently with Brzezinski and the other guy.
She spilled the beans. She spilled the beans.
Her statement is, in quotations, I will say, get all the intel on Trump to hide from Trump that we were listening to them.
Right.
That's on CNBC, and Brzezinski.
No, wait. Only correction. MSNBC, not CNBC. MSNBC.
Yeah, whatever. You know, the marble. Yeah, I got marbles. But anyhow, Brzezinski and Morning Joe. If you said that to me, if I said that to you, what would be your first response?
My first response would be Donald Trump was 100% right. She just admitted they spied on him. And they committed crimes.
Would you question her further on? They left it at that. Yeah. They just said, goodbye, thanks a lot, Senator Debbie Stabenow, who's pushing for his tax returns. If I was Trump, I'd say, yeah, I'll give you my tax returns, when Obama gives us his admission records.
Right, exactly. But here's the thing. Several former CIA big shots have said in the last few days that what Obama did to Trump is 10 times worse than Watergate. He absolutely, purposely, I won't use the word wiretap because they argue, is it wiretap, is it surveillance, is it spying? I don't know what it is. I don't know. He
listened in.
And they listened in during the campaign so that they could know what he was doing in the campaign. This wasn't about Russia. That was the excuse.
To try and counter it.
Right.
Sure, to try and counter.
Of course. Crimes were committed. And nobody seems to care. Well, Trump's president. Why doesn't he appoint a special prosecutor on this issue to go after Obama for crimes against the privacy of American people?
Wayne, as well as you know Trump, maybe you don't know that he's holding his cards close to his vest. When the timing is right, he will strike like a cobra. And you like that?
I like that.
Like you said about the health care bill, I had the same impression. It ain't over till the fat lady sings, and we're going to get it done. Like you said earlier in the show, he's changing things one by one, and they are going absolutely crazy, like Schumer, like this Adam Schiff, who's a glib talker, and eventually all of these people, I think, are going to have their comeuppance, and he is going to put them down like rabid dogs, one at a time.
I love it. All right, JD, thank you for the call. We really appreciate it. We're heading for the news in just a moment or two. Let's tell you some of the things that are coming up ahead. First of all, Obamacare may explode, whether or not we repeal it, on May 22nd. May 22nd is D-Day, and I'll tell you why when we get back from the break. Number two, in North Hollywood, I mentioned this yesterday on the show real quickly, but I'll do it in detail. Budget cuts due to a high percentage of white students at a middle school in North Hollywood. There is a law, evidently, or a rule, whatever it is, in California, and the higher the percentage of white students you have, the more cuts in your funding for schools. So because there's too many white people, they're going to cut it. I think you'll be interested in that one. And how about this one? Women's March leader, and I mentioned this probably 2 weeks ago already. I was the first one maybe in the country who knew about it, but now it's becoming bigger news. The woman who put together, the organizer of that big march in Washington, D.C., the women who hated Donald Trump, she's a convicted terrorist who planted bombs in Israel to kill people, and she agrees now to be deported. I mentioned this a week or two ago. She agrees to be deported rather than be sent to jail for lying on her form getting into the United States. Just more reasons why you need a wall, more reasons why you need a secure border, more reasons why you need to watch over people from from nations filled with terrorism. All more reasons that Donald Trump is right about everything, and more reasons to understand that all these liberals are bad news, man. She's a terrorist, and she organized the Women's March. All those women, did they know they were marching with a terrorist who tried to kill Jews in Israel? Did they know that? Do they care? Wayne Allyn, WAR Now. All right, good God, y'all. Wayne Allyn, WAR Now. Headed for national syndication, so tell your friends and relatives, especially your liberal ones. War is coming, baby. Going to be fun. Liberal heads will explode all over this great country. And we're going to have some fun, too. Ask Charlie. Charlie's my board op. He has fun every day. Charlie says hours of boredom followed by Wayne Root Show, which is hours of terror. This show is fun, fly by the seat of your pants, energy from top to bottom. And I walk in at about 3:03, start the show at 3:04. No preparation, no notes, nothing. Just start talking. Start whacking away at liberals like a piñata. That's what I do when I get in. I just think of who can I whack today. That's perfect because I was born in an all-Italian neighborhood in New York. And I always think, who can I whack today? All right, so I want all of you to start calling in. Start thinking about calling in about the Raiders. We haven't had a lot of calls. I don't know if we've had any calls this week about the Raiders. Are you happy that the Raiders are coming to town? Are you unhappy the Raiders are coming to town? Do you feel like the $750 million taxpayer payoff was too much? I think we all feel that, but it really is going to be felt almost 100% by tourists, not by locals, but there will be other bills felt by locals. That money's all, hotel taxes. So if you're a local and you're not staying in a Vegas hotel, or maybe, for your 20th anniversary, you're staying at the Venetian, but, that's a once-in-a-lifetime thing. In general, you're not hurt by those taxes. It's tourists that will get hit or hurt by those taxes. So do you care? But there will be other taxes, I'm sure, because as we'll discuss with Kevin Wall and the 5:20 or so time slot, we have our guest on. It'll be Kevin Wall today, the host from the 9 a.m. to noon hour here, live and local with Kevin Wall. And we'll be talking about Raider Stadium. And Kevin and I will discuss the fact there are many other taxes that could be raised because they're going to need to build a lot of infrastructure to enable them to take all the traffic in and out of the stadium. And that's going to cost taxpayers money. So that $750 million is only the beginning. But on the other hand, is this good for the town? I think it is. I mean, a lot of people are probably very surprised that I would say that. I think it is good. I really do believe we just went from an afterthought to a major league town. And yes, I know we're the tourist capital of the world. I'm the one who always touts Vegas. I'm an ambassador of this town. Everywhere I go, I tout Vegas, what a great place it is. And everybody loves it, but they think of it as kind of a joke. They love it, and they smile, and they laugh. Vegas, baby. They don't mean that it's they mean it's the funnest town in the world. They don't mean it's necessarily a real town. They see this as make-believe. And I think when you get an NFL football team, you're not make-believe anymore. You're real. And people will see us in a different way, and our home values will go up, and tourism will get better because everyone in the world is going to come to every Raider game. And every time we go on the road, the Vegas Raiders are going to absolutely be an ambassador to Las Vegas. When you see them, you're thinking about going to Vegas, baby. For a lot of reasons, this is good for us. For a lot of reasons. So I'd love to hear what you think about it. 844-WAR-NOW-1. I think it makes us a big league town. Really does. And I, someone who doesn't even like going to sporting events live, I like to watch them on TV. I'm pretty excited about going to Raider games. I mean, that's really going to be a big-time fun thing for Vegas people. And as usual, once again, I always find ways to, bring it back to conservative values. I think they're coming here because of taxes. That'll be my column in the RJ tomorrow, Las Vegas Review-Journal. They're coming here because taxes are low, and the players and Al Davis will save a fortune. Millions and millions, tens of millions of dollars in taxes will be saved moving from California to Las Vegas. I think that's the main reason that this became such an easy sell. That's what makes Vegas Vegas. We're the Monte Carlo of America, the low-tax capital of America. And the other thing that's interesting about conservative values is there was an article in the paper today about the NFL and the NHL. We now have both. We have the Knights in the NHL and we have the Raiders in the NFL. What a great thing for Vegas. What a great story. But it was in the paper, interestingly enough, I think in the Sun, if I remember correctly. I try not to read the Sun too much. But I think it was in the Las Vegas Sun, the liberal insert in the Las Vegas Review-Journal. And the article was about the fact that it's hard to sell football tickets or NHL tickets without corporate sponsors because almost every seat is a corporation that buys 5 seats and gives it to their best salesman, gives it to their friends, gives it to their family, gives it to their customers. Hey, car dealer, you're buying a new Cadillac today, you're buying a new Hyundai today. Whatever you're buying, guess what? We'll give you some free Raiders tickets. That's how all these stadiums sell out. So I laugh again when liberals hate rich people. Without rich people, nobody buys anything. The average middle-class person is not buying tickets to a football game because they can't afford it. These are all people going for free because a corporation gave them tickets. Remember, most companies that buy tickets have like 1,000 employees in an office in that town. And so they're always giving away prizes for the best salesman of the month, best salesman of the week. They give them tickets for them and their family to go to a football game for free. One of the perks of working for that bank, working for that real estate company. So when you criticize rich people, that bank and that real estate company are buying all the tickets to your stadium. That's the only reason you have a team here. It's my argument again and again and again that rich people are the reason for everything. They're the reason for me. I don't have this radio show without 15 sponsors willing to pay for this radio show. Right? And my new national show it's brand new. It's not on the air yet, and it's sold out. It's sold out. I've sold it out with sponsors. So I keep arguing. This is my whole story of my life. I've never been rich, but I'm upper middle class, and the only reason I have the money I have is because I've done business with rich people my whole life. And without rich people, I wouldn't have any money. I wouldn't have my home. I wouldn't have my car. My beautiful Maserati comes because I do business with rich people. Charlie, you were at my house the other day. Beautiful house, right? All because I do business with rich people. Without rich people, I'd have nothing. How can you be mad at rich people? How do you want to take their money away? How do you want to tax them to death? If you do, they're not going to have any money left from me or you. And it's the same thing that allows them to buy tickets. It's all rich people buying the tickets. You can't afford them, the average person. You make $50,000 a year. You can't afford tickets to either the hockey game or the Raiders game. By the way, you do realize there's a huge business in this country called ticket brokers and ticket scalpers, right? And they take a $100 face value ticket. They sell it for $1,000 a ticket. Certainly $500. So I want to go to an NHL game. I remember a couple years back, I called. There was an NHL exhibition game way before we ever thought we'd get a team in this town. The NHL had exhibition at MGM, and I wanted to take my kids. And the ticket broker said $600 a ticket for an exhibition game. So if I went with my two sons, that's 600 times 3. That's $1,800 to go to an exhibition hockey game. I don't have the money for that. I said, sorry. I had no idea it cost that much. I thought it was $100 a ticket. He said, well, that's the face value of the ticket. Somebody bought the ticket for $100 in advance. That's the rich guy, right? He can't go tonight. He gives it to the ticket broker, and he tells the ticket broker to get $600 for it, and he'll split it with him. $300 for you, $300 for me. Boy, thank God for rich people, because who the hell could afford $600 a ticket if there isn't a rich tourist in town? Nobody. All right, we've got lots of callers. Line 1. We've got Marge on line 1. Wayne Allyn with you. Hey, Marge, how are you?
I'm good. How are you?
I'm great. What's on your mind?
Well, I wanted to send a letter to the editor to the Review Journal, and I wondered if I could send you a copy too. And is it hard to get accepted there with a letter? I really have something I want to say.
Yeah, it's really hard. I'm telling you, I think they get like 1,000 letters a day and they print 2 or 3. So the odds of getting one in are very tough. Giving it to me is no advantage at all. If you want me to read it, great. I'm WayneRoot@gmail.com. I'll be glad to read it. I want to hear what you have to say because I get all my best ideas from my listeners to this show and the people who read my columns. So WayneRoot@gmail.com. But I have no great help to you in helping it get to the top of the pile. I don't make those decisions. The RJ, the editor of the Letters to the Editor section, does. So not up to me.
Is it WAYNEROOT@gmail.com?
Yes, ma'am. That's it. You got it.
Okay, and also I'm writing a book. It's a long story, but when I get the book done, I'll let you know it's there.
You got it. Thank you, Marge. Appreciate it.
I'm a writer. I hope to get published soon. Okay, thanks.
Thanks, Marge. We got Jim on line 2. Jim, you're on with W.A.R. How are you? Jim, you're on.
Oh, hi. Wayne, thanks for taking my call. Listen, I wanted to get your opinion on this health care issue. You know, we're only talking 30 million people. That's less than a tenth of the population. Now, you know, that's not a big group. Why don't they just put them in a special category, put it up for bid? Probably 5 of your Jewish buddies from Malvern will take the contract, set up an offshore liability company, provide great medical care, and make a profit.
It's not.
And let everybody else have it the way they had it.
It's not a bad idea.
Why are we chasing after such a small group?
It's not a bad idea. My Jewish friends from Mount Vernon aren't going to be the ones who do it, though. The way you said that, it sounded like I grew up around rich guys. I grew up around poor guys, so nobody from Mount Vernon will do it. But, yes, a bunch of guys from Manhattan or Los Angeles or San Francisco.
Joke, you know?
Yeah, I know. But it's a bunch of guys will do it. They won't be from Mount Vernon, but they'll be from a rich place like Beverly Hills or the Upper East Side of Manhattan. But, yeah, I think your idea is valid. I really do. I like it. And by the way, you say it's 30 million. I don't even think it's 30. The argument I thought the CBO made, the Congressional Budget Office, was 24 million people might lose their insurance or choose not to take it anymore. So I think it's only 24 million you're talking about, you know?
You know, Wayne, when I was growing up, I was always president of this or president of that. And I had an uncle that was like a mentor, and he used to tell me, how's it going? I said, I'm always having trouble getting everybody happy. And he used to say, look, son, there's only one man that could make everybody happy, and look what they did to him. What I'm trying to say is Trump can't win.
Yeah.
Jesus couldn't win. Trump can't win. You just got to do it.
That's my argument. I've made that argument in many commentaries, and I send them all to Donald's office. I don't know how many he reads or doesn't read. In the past, he's read many of them and sent me notes. And my commentary is, to run the country the way you ran your campaign. You didn't give a damn about the critics in your campaign. You didn't give a damn about liberals. You didn't give a damn about people calling you racist. You just said what the truth was, and you let the consequences be damned. You went after it. You went for the brass ring. Why don't you run the country the exact same way? Don't worry about someone saying 24 million are going to lose it. It's more important that 100 million that mostly voted for you are getting destroyed by the premiums, and you're out to save them. Don't worry about the 24 million. That's not your problem. Your problem is the 100 million that voted for you, the middle class, is being destroyed. That's your problem. And by the way, the CBO did not say that 24 million would lose their insurance. They said it would be a combination of some would lose it, some would just choose to no longer have it, and some would choose to go get private insurance. That's what the CBO said. They're not all losing it and dying in the streets. Nobody said that. But I like your idea. I do. I think there's some validity. Take the people who are in that high-risk category and super poverty category that can't afford it and get them a special rate and a special deal and then go from there. The rest of us should be left alone. I don't want to be part of Obamacare. No interest, you know? All right.
I want to get your opinion on something else. And were you aware of the information that Sean Hannity put on the air?
Well, which one?
Last night.
What did he put on last night?
Well, regarding Hillary Clinton, and they put the details out on that uranium trade. Do you think that was Putin's way of saying enough's enough? If you continue, we're going to let out more information. You know, he came out with some interesting information. He told the name of the company, Universal One. The Russian company was set up to do the deal with Hillary. He told them how much money exchanged hands, and then they kind of dropped it. But they gave, the WikiLeaks type guys enough information to get the show on the road.
I don't know.
Do you think that was Putin's way of saying, that's enough of this?
Jim, I don't know. Maybe I know he's made Hillary and Bill have made enemies with Putin now. I know that the whole Democratic Party, is blaming every problem in America on Trump's Russian connections. If I was Putin, I'd have had enough too, and I would have dumped it and made sure that she goes to prison. But I do know that I've been talking about this stuff way before Hannity. I've been talking about it way before Trump. I sent my article from a month ago to Donald Trump where I said, tell Donald, this is from Wayne, tell Donald to read this column and go on the offensive. Hillary's the one with the Russian problems and the Russian connections and the Russian bribes, not you. Tell the world. And then, of course, now Hannity comes out with it. Now Donald Trump tweets about it in the middle of the night. Hillary's the one with the Russian problem. I sent him that John Podesta, Hillary's campaign manager, has a Russian problem. And Donald saw that. So I like to think I'm sparking a lot of these arguments. I think a lot of it came from me. All I could tell you is I've provided a lot of help to Donald over the last 20 months or so. And I think he reads everything I write him, and I think a lot of it pops up in his late-night tweets. So I hope I continue to be helpful to the great president of the free world in the United States of America. Hey, Jim, thanks for the call. Appreciate it, man. All right, when we get back, Kevin Wall to talk about the Raiders and quite a few other things going on up in Carson City. So don't go away. It's going to be one of the last times I ever get to talk about local Vegas issues because the show goes national on the 10th of April, Monday the 10th of April. So it will not be a local Vegas show. It never has been. It's been a national show and a Trump show and a Hillary show. That's really 90% of my conversation. But like maybe 5 to 10% is something about something locally, Governor Sandoval, the Raiders, etc. That's not going to happen on my nationally syndicated show anymore unless Vegas is the number one story in the news. But it is sometimes. So we'll still talk a little bit about Vegas. But this is an in-depth discussion about some of the issues plaguing us right here in town. Coming up next with Kevin Wall. Wayne Allyn, WAR Now. All right. Wayne Allyn. Don't you understand what I'm trying to say? We got a new president, baby. He's good stuff. And he's got the Democrats on the run, and that's why Schumer and company, Senate Minority Leader, is just, unhinged and going crazy and chasing patrons out of a restaurant in the middle of New York City on a public street in a public restaurant screaming at him, Trump's a liar. Don't you think we got him on the run when they start doing things like that? I think there's no question. No question. All right, we've got a segment we call Building the Wall with Kevin Wall. Kevin is the host of Live and Local with Kevin Wall every day right here on 790 a.m. From 9 a.m. to noon. 9 a.m. to noon here and on 98.1 FM in Palm Springs. And he's a great friend of the show and a great friend of mine. Kevin Wall, welcome to the show. Oh, we don't have him yet. We almost have him. He's almost here. So we're going to talk about, number one, of course, the Raiders. and the new stadium site, which has been in the news. Number 2, the death penalty. There's a bill up in Carson City about the death penalty, trying to kill it once and for all in Nevada. And Nevada small businesses offering paid sick leave, another bill being proposed by the crazy, radical, out-of-touch, ultra leftist Democrats we've got in Carson City. And so Kevin Wall's here to talk about it. We got Kevin. Hey, Kevin, how are you?
Hey, Wayne, I'm doing good. How are you?
Good. So let's start with the Raiders, because that's the first thing on everybody's mind. First of all, you're happy that they're coming to town? Yeah?
Absolutely. I love the idea. I'm not crazy about using public money, even if it's money from people who are, staying in our hotels and motels. I would much have preferred the T-Mobile MGM Grand model, which is they footed the bill for the entire thing. But the fact that now we've got the stadium paid for, and now it's just a matter of where it's going to go, and it looks like it's going to go on the I-15 Russell Road site. That seems to be where the Raiders want it. Now that we've got the team and the stadium, I'm saying, hey, let's have that commitment to excellence, and let's move forward.
And I'm with you on all of it. I mean, I'm thrilled the Raiders are coming to town, but I also do believe that the public money was way too much, $750 million. And even if I was the negotiator, and I would have loved to have been in that room representing the taxpayers, I could have gone for the full $750 million if we owned a piece of the stadium and the money could come back. But they gave us nothing for the $750 million. So you're taking $750 million of taxpayer money, and you're not offering them 1% ownership in the stadium. Nothing. So they can never, there is no upside. I've never heard of a deal like that in my life. But anyway, look, I'm glad the Raiders are coming. I'm thrilled. I think it makes us a big league city. I think it improves business. I think it improves our economic situation. I think it'll add jobs. I think it'll fill hotels. And I think it'll increase property values on our homes. I think all good in all of those ways. What I'm worried about, and it's an article that you sent me, and I printed it out, I'm looking at it, and that is that $750 million is only a starting number. That's the number to build the stadium. That doesn't include, correct me if I'm wrong, that does not include spending on infrastructure to change the lanes, to change the highway, to get people in and out and traffic flowing to and from a stadium with 65,000 people. When I look at this article, it looks like hundreds of millions will be spent in freeway projects and road projects in order to make this stadium accessible to people. And that money's going to come from you and me and the taxpayers, I would think.
Well, again, we do this all the time. We need infrastructure, whether it's a T-Mobile arena, whether it's building a stadium. We're always going to be doing that. Now, the question is it money well spent? Well, if it gets people in and out and it doesn't cause huge traffic problems. I mean, when you put 65,000 people in a stadium all at once over the course of 3 hours of tailgating and 2 hours after the game, that's an entire Sunday where traffic in that area is going to be a mess.
No question.
So you're going to have some infrastructure, and whether that's the state, the county, or maybe the National Football League. Wouldn't that be a novel approach? But I agree with you on the whole thing of the idea of not a very solid partnership where we pony up $750 million and we get absolutely zero for it. We have no equity. We have, if it turns a profit, we don't make any money at all, not one dime. That to me is not a very smart partnership to be in.
Well, and by the way, you know what gets me mad is when local governments claim they don't have enough money for this, they don't have enough money for that. We're the fast-growing state, fast-growing city. All that's true. We are the fast-growing state and the fast-growing city. All that's great. But they claim you got to raise taxes because all these people are coming in and they want stuff. Well, guess what? All those people coming in are going to pay sales tax and property tax. Everything they buy, there's a tax on it. So they are carrying their weight. They are paying for everything. Same thing with this stadium. They're going to say, well, the taxpayers need to pony up an extra $300 million in infrastructure, changes to help with the traffic. Okay, But does it ever occur to anybody 65,000 people are going to all buy hot dogs and booze and pay for parking and pay for tickets? And there's sales tax on all that stuff. That money's going to all flow through to the state government. So the government should have enough money for all the infrastructure and then some, yet they're going to say we don't. They're going to raise taxes. So it's going to be a double whammy. They're going to get the money and then they're going to raise our taxes and get even more money. These are all excuses. They've got the money.
Yeah, and that's where I think we as citizens need to put our foot down. And if they come to us, I pray they're not going to do this. I mean, they can't be that stupid that they think they can come to us after the largest tax increase in the history of our state, the commerce tax, followed immediately, almost immediately, by the second largest tax increase in the history of our state. It's incredible that they would have the chutzpah to come to us for yet another tax increase. Well, we need some infrastructure. We need some money for roads and bridges around the stadium. So would you mind ponying up? I would not want to be the one reaching out to the public for that one.
They will. Trust me, they will. There's no question. And another word for chutzpah, by the way, is audacity. Remember, Obama had that book, The Audacity of Obama. And the reality is that these politicians are audacious. I believe that's the right word, audacious. If you have audacity, I think you're audacious. And they are, because they don't have any shame or any pride. They just are willing to ask, again and again and again. They want to tell you they don't have any money. They're poverty-stricken, and they need our money. When we get back, Kevin, we're taking a quick break. When we get back, there's a new bill up there in Carson City. Actually, two new bills. One proposes sick leave for Nevada small businesses, and we can't afford it. Another one that'll put us out of business. Another one is a death penalty bill. They want to kill the death penalty. Excuse the pun. And I also want to talk to you about the Uber bill. Did you hear about the Uber bill, Kevin?
Oh, yeah. The Uber bill where they're going to force customers
to wait 15 minutes.
15 minutes. And this is all so that they can compete on a level playing field with cabbies.
Well, that makes
unbelievable.
By the way, that makes a lot of sense in only one way. Cabbies are pathetic. They are doing a lousy job, these cab companies. They don't have enough cabs on the street. And so people have to wait forever to get a cab. So the only way they can compete on an even playing field is to make Uber wait 15 minutes so you complain about them too. Isn't that perfect for government? Instead of making it better for everyone and faster for everyone, let's make it slower for everyone and let's screw over Uber and screw over all the consumers. That's government. When we get back, we'll cover this with Kevin Wall. I'm Wayne Allyn. There's a segment we call Building the Wall with Kevin Wall, who's on every day, 9 a.m. to noon. I'll be on his show tomorrow, Thursday. We'll have a lot of fun, as we always do. I'm just proud to call Kevin my buddy. I love the man. Wayne Allyn, WAR Now. We'll be right back. More with Kev. All right, Wayne Allyn, welcome back. A segment called Building the Wall with Kevin Wall, live at local, 9 a.m. to noon every day right here. A wonderful host and a wonderful friend. And he's on the show to talk about a few local issues up in Carson City. By the way, for those of you who heard Schiff Happens with my childhood buddy, Matt Schiff, he's always got the most wild, wacky stories anywhere on the internet or anywhere in the news. I'm surprised he missed this one. A 25-year-old Indonesian man has been swallowed whole by a python on the island of Sulawesi, villagers report. Can you imagine the last moments of that guy's life as he's being swallowed whole by a python? When you think of odd things happening in this world, you just got eaten by a snake. You're a 160-pound man, and the snake just ate you. As you're being digested, what's going through your mind? Wow, that's a wild story. Matt Schiff, you missed one, buddy. All right, Kevin Wall, what's going on, man?
Oh, the only thing I worry about is do I lose my timeshare now? As you're being digested, that's the last thing you think about is what's left of my timeshare.
I think I'd be think of all the things I did to try and look good and feel better and live a long life. I should have just smoked cigarettes, drank, and ate everything because I'm dying now inside a snake. Who gives a damn, right? All right, so up in Carson City, speaking of snakes, hey, there's a good transition. Speaking of snakes, the Democrats in Carson City are out of their freaking minds. And everything they propose is dumb. And they're proposing a bill that would ruin Uber. Uber already said they would leave the state if they passed the bill that makes them wait 15 minutes. So that's hilarious. By the way, Don't you think, what other reason would there be for that other than the politician proposing it is on the payroll of a lobbyist that represents the taxi unions, right?
Wow. I guess no conflict of interest there, eh?
Well, what other reason would you ever propose making consumers wait an extra 15 minutes for every single ride? What could possibly be on your mind except you just got a $10,000 check from a lobbyist representing a taxi company, and they're trying to put Uber out of business? I tried my hardest, Kevin, to think of any other reason in the world why you'd want to ruin Uber's business and screw over every consumer in the entire state of Nevada. It's got to be because you're on the take from a contribution, otherwise known as a bribe, from a taxi company or a taxi union. That's the only thing I can think of, right?
Well, and the taxi cab owners have an association, and they are very, very powerful in Carson City. Having said that, you look at this legislation, which makes no sense at all, because the only people that benefit are the cabbies, because it levels the playing field. But it doesn't level the playing field in a natural way, in a very unnatural way, in that the people who are harmed by this are the consumer. I mean, almost anywhere I go in this town, and I take Uber and Lyft on a fairly regular basis. If it's over 6 or 7 minutes, I'm shocked. It's generally in the 4 to 5 minute range.
Amazing.
Whether I'm going from my house or down on the strip or wherever I may be, it's 4, 5, 6 minutes, 7 minutes max.
And by the way, you're in this town a lot less than me, year-wise, right? I've been here 15 years. And before that, I had a TV show called Proline on USA Network where I flew in to be on the show every week, 50 weeks a year for 10 years before that. So I've been coming to Vegas for 25 years, Kevin. And I'm telling you, if you wanted to get a cab and you were not at a hotel, if you were at a restaurant off strip, if you're at a friend's house, if you're at your own house, 1 or 2 hour wait, or maybe they never even show up. Uber has changed life as we know it for locals. What a wonderful breath of fresh air, and they're trying to ruin it all. Isn't that amazing?
Well, and by the way, there are 3 elements to this that we need to keep in mind. One is the consumer. Number 2, not the cabbies, but the Uber drivers. For them, tick-tock, time is really money. And the people that are going to suffer are the consumer and the Uber drivers. They're going to make less money. Consumers are going to be waiting 15 minutes when they ought to be waiting 4 or 5 minutes. And the only people that gain are the cabbies. And the only reason a bill like this gets put in the hopper is because some assemblyman or some state senator got a contribution from the cab companies.
Right.
It's simple.
Right. Simple.
I mean, this is so blatant.
All right. So how about this one? Last one. We got to run. Last one.
Okay.
A bill proposes Nevada small businesses offer paid sick leave. Small businesses offer paid sick leave. The economy's horrible. What rock is Democratic Majority Leader Aaron Ford living under? I have no money as a small business owner to give anybody sick leave. I don't have it. Paid sick leave.
Well, now remember, paid sick leave is going to be on top of the minimum wage.
Right.
You know, the living wage of $15.
And on top of Obamacare. This is for businesses with 50 or more employees. This is the thinking of Democrats. Do you understand? If that means if you pass this bill, I will make sure I never have more than 49 employees. I don't want to have 100. I'll divide it into 5 different companies of 47 each because I will never have 100 employees in the state of Nevada. This is what Democrats do to business.
Well, and how many times can you reach into small businesses' pockets before eventually small business passes this along to the consumer, to the voters, to the constituents? What's going to happen is this is going to end up being an indirect tax on you and me, because I guarantee you, Wayne, you know this, I know this, small businesses aren't going to take this.
No.
They are simply not going to absorb this. They're not a philanthropic organization. They're a small business. And what's going to end up happening is you're going to have, folks are going to start lopping people off. There are going to be people that are going to lose their job probably. And secondly, I know they're not supposed to do it, but when you've got to trim some fat from your payroll, who are you going to lop off? The really healthy younger person, or the person that's going to use up a lot that is using up a lot of health care that may have, stage 2 cancer of some
Right,
sort, God
right.
forbid. Who do you think is going to get lopped off? It's going to be the person that's going to use up a lot of health care that will use up a lot of sick days.
Well, isn't that ironic?
Because they're going to be paid.
Isn't that ironic? All the liberals up in Carson City want to kill the death penalty, but they're trying to give the death penalty to every small business in the state. How dumb are these people? Amazing. Hey, Kevin, great to have you with us, as always, man.
We'll do it again. Well,
okay? We'll do it again on tomorrow morning on your show. I'll see you at 10 a.m. tomorrow morning, man. Can't wait. Thanks, Kev.
I can't wait. Thanks, Wayne.
Kevin Wall, 9 a.m. to noon every day right here at 790 Talk Now and 98.1 FM in Palm Springs as well. Wayne Allyn. We'll be right back. War Now. All right, Wayne Allyn will take calls to end the show. 844 War Now 1, 844 War Now 1, 844 927 6691. We've got Dane on line 1. Dane, you're on with War. How are you?
Hey, Wayne, listen, I got your next article to write for the Journal. The media, corrupt, fake news is unhinged, horrified that Ivanka Trump is actually working as a federal employee for the White House now, and mind you, with zero income coming from the federal government, pro bono. Now, here's the thing. We did not hear one word about Michelle Obama's mother for 8 years, collected a salary, went all over the world on vacations, free, the highest paid nanny in the world, and the press did not say one word. It's such a hypocrisy. I don't think I can take much more.
It's pretty bad, and I appreciate all my smart listeners. And Dane is one of the smartest out there. Dane and JD and so many of you give me so many great stories. Dane, as usual, great story and a great comparison. It's just the bias in the media is unbelievable. I can't think of everything. I'm not a genius and I'm not perfect. I can't think of everything. And I get all my stories from you guys, or at least most of them. And so thank you, Dane. Another good story.
Thank you.
I don't know if it'll be a column in the RJ or not because there's so many things to write about. I can't keep up with them all. And every time I think I got, a list of 10 lined up, then tomorrow a new 10 take over, and now I'm 20 deep, and I only have one column to write. So, you could write columns all day long about all the hypocrisies and all the terrible things going on. I do want to end the show. Thank you, Dane. I do want to end the show by talking about the Obamacare explosion or implosion that could come on May 22nd. After studying this, even if Donald does not manage to get another vote and repeal Obamacare, it still could all end Obamacare on May 22nd. After a stunning healthcare defeat last week delivered at the hands of his own party, no less, Trump took to Twitter to predict the imminent explosion of Obamacare. As it turns out, that explosion could come faster than anybody expects, as legislators and health insurers have to make several critical decisions about the 2018 plan year over the next 2 months, which could seal Obamacare's fate. As the Atlanta Journal-Constitution points out, the Trump administration has until May 22nd to decide whether they will continue to pursue the Obama administration's appeal to provide subsidies to insurers who participate in the federal exchanges. Any decision to remove those subsidies would result in yet another massive round of premium hikes and further withdrawals from the already crippled exchanges, where an astounding number of counties across the country have already been cut to just one healthcare provider. And, as we've pointed out before, I'm reading from a Zero Hedge article, higher rates equal lower participation, deterioration of the risk pool, and even more higher rates, and the cycle just repeats until it eventually collapses. So that's that's just one area where you could end the entire thing, because you have to make that decision by the 22nd of May. And while all this uncertainty swirls, health insurers must decide whether to make rate filings to sell insurance in 2018. The deadline varies by state, but for those that have marketplaces run by the federal government, it's June 21st. Filing doesn't mean that insurers will participate. They'll have months more to negotiate, and they could still drop out, but it's a first step towards offering plans in 2018 and should provide a signal about what the marketplaces are likely to look like. So it just doesn't seem likely that Obamacare is going to survive this collapse in coverage. They're just not going to insure. Once they hear, by the way, that Trump is not going to subsidize them, all these companies will pull out, and that will be the end of Obamacare, and that's that. So whether you repeal it or not, Obamacare is going to crash and burn. Donald Trump is right. Disaster waiting to happen. I'm just sad that it would ever happen. I'd rather repeal and replace and do the job now. before you have to get to the point where people are left on the street with no insurance because everything collapsed. And I think anything is better than the plan we got now. So I'll take whatever we got from Republicans if it's better than what I got now. Cut the premiums, cut the taxes. It may not be perfect, but it's good. Wayne Allyn, worn out, all the cops out there, you know we love you. We think about you. We pray for you. We want you to be safe. Everybody have a great night. We'll see you tomorrow. God bless. We'll see you tomorrow. God bless. We'll